Hello and welcome to another edition of the Gadget Show. My name is Usman, and when I say we, obviously I'm going to introduce my guest. We are going to be bringing you all of the latest news and reviews and gadget reviews, all about different things that are going on right about now. We're coming to you live from our studios in Manchester, obviously, which means you can interact with us. If you have any questions about the following information we're going to give you, please feel free to pick up the phone. The number is on your screen, and interact with us, where our expert gadget guru, whatever you want to call him, will be more than happy to take your calls. And on that note, I shall introduce him. Hello, everyone, to Raman.
Hi, Usman. How you doing? You okay?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
Have you got some interesting stuff lined up for us today?
I hope so. Yes. I'm quite excited.
You've given me a quick overview, and I like the sound of it. There's some things here that I would use myself, but we'll get into that in a little while. Firstly, we're going to go to our section, which is news and features, where we're going to tell you what's been going on in the world of technology over the last 7 days. So, Raman, what has been going on?
I think the hottest news as of now is looking at the last week when the BlackBerry servers had crashed.
Again, BlackBerry in the news.
In the news again, yes, and obviously a lot of lawsuits coming their way now. Obviously, a lot of consumers deciding to talk about it in the forums. Even after their CEO, Michael Azadis, basically gave away apps worth $100 or £63 free. I think consumers want more. Yeah. And that's been in the news. That's kept RIM and BlackBerry in the news for quite some time.
Yeah, so for those of you who didn't know, obviously 2 weeks ago on this very program, we talked about the BlackBerry outage. I think it was affected around about 2.5 days. BlackBerry was out. Obviously, being a BlackBerry user myself, I was directly affected. What BlackBerry did is they have compensated everyone that was affected with free apps. So if you don't know about this, go onto your app world, have a click on there. They've brought up a brand new section which has got thank you gift on it. If you click on that, currently there's two apps available. One's a game and one's a text to speech function thing, which is very, very nice at the moment. Hopefully there's more things to come. You were saying it's about $100, is it?
It's about $100, £63.
£63 worth of apps, yeah. Can't complain.
I don't
obviously
think so.
Some people are still complaining though.
Well, I guess you will never have an end to this in any case, because people always want more and more, and obviously they've got used to using BlackBerries, which means that even if they were without one or two services for a couple of days, it felt like eternity. Obviously it felt like that they were without it for a good amount of time. Right, hot on news. The other good news is, or obviously an exciting news is that Sony has decided to, obviously buy the stake in Sony Ericsson. So obviously that means the handset will now essentially become a portfolio of Sony Entertainment and obviously Sony Japan, which means they can look at bringing out new and exciting products, both on mobile gaming side and obviously on the PS3, which is their gaming console. So I think all in all, it's something which a lot of analysts, the market has been expecting that deal for quite some time, but they paid a good price for it, obviously, in the tune of about £1 billion.
Wow.
Which includes all the access to the patents as well. That means, all in all, I think we should expect more from Sony, which has brought out a lot of innovation in the market.
Yeah, so from the gaming side you're talking about, or do you think they're going to branch out a little bit more?
I think what they're going to try and do is basically, that's obviously a tripod strategy, wherein what they will look at is mobile gaming on the handsets, which is the Xperia range, which is on Android and which is very successful for them. They're also probably looking at pushing some part of this through their PS3. That means versions of games which have been very successful on the console. They would want to bring that to mobile users. And obviously, who knows with Sony? There are no bounds with Sony. And you always tend to expect more and more with that company.
Definitely. Before we continue, we've got our first caller, so we're going to take a call. Hello?
Hello, young man.
Hello.
This is Mr. Anwar Kokar from London.
How are you?
I want to congratulate to DM and you people. I mean, I'm 72. I'm glued to your program. It's so much we're gaining knowledge about it, and I congratulate you. Keep up your good work. You're doing the best, I say. And it's one of the best show I ever came across to watch.
Oh, thank you very much for your kind words.
And
hopefully over the next 2 weeks.
I think DM Television ought to be congratulated for having such beautiful shows, okay?
Thank you very much for your call. Very, very kind words from the gentleman all the way in London. Yes, we are trying to bring you new, fresh, innovative programs, to something a little bit different. Like I said, this technology show is the first of its kind. Never had anything like this before on our channel. So
fantastic,
glad you like it.
Okay then.
Thank you very much for your calls. Yes, just a quick thank you there for the hard work you've been putting in the background.
Well,
Feel good.
It definitely feels good. Our viewers, they're quite generous, very gracious.
Very definitely.
And I think we've got a long way to go, but obviously, yes, it is good for us to get those thoughts. I think the third big news is the Nokia rebirth,
yes,
which everybody's been expecting. They have been one company which have been absolutely silent, kind of, after the launch of the iPhone.
Yeah.
And they have now started to come back after this strategic tie with Microsoft, which means most of their phones will come on Windows operating system. And they've announced Lumia, which is a brand new range of funky handset phones in different colors. And in fact, it's so big for them that actually their CEO is calling it a Nokia rebirth.
Wow.
And I think one of the companies which basically manufactures in excess of 400 million mobile phones, at one point in time, the market leader with over 50% market share. I think a lot of consumers who started using phones. When I started using phone, I had a Nokia phone, to be honest.
Yeah, I think everyone remembers.
And everyone has
Nokia
grown
phone,
up with Nokia phones or Motorola's, and we would really love to see these companies actually come back and give us something good on technology. So they've called it excitingly the Lumia range, which will have both pricier as well as price point economical handsets. And in that range, what they've tried to do is try and strike a tone with the young audience. So the phones are going to be in different colors. Obviously, they will have all the features like the megapixel camera, obviously things like the storage and all the things that we've, we can
now
expect
have become
from
basic, really. The basic requirements of a phone, to be honest.
I agree.
Have been things like that. We've got another caller, so we're going to take a quick call. Hello? Hello? I think they may have gone. So I don't know if they want to try and call back again, but thank you very much for getting in touch anyway. But yes, everyone does remember having a Nokia phone. I remember having a Nokia phone. But long are the days when just having text message functionality was the reason why you'd buy a phone.
I think I still remember my Nokia communicator from good old days, 9300 black and white screen, opening up with the QWERTY keyboard. But I guess they've introduced a lot of phones in the last couple of months, which have really come into the market, like the C series, the E series, which are oriented towards different market. But this new range, excitingly, they've named it, they've called it the Asha range, which is actually a word for hope.
Yeah.
And it is primarily, what they're looking at doing is the two biggest markets for them, India and China, that is where actually they're pegging these, obviously for them to get the success initially, the initial traction. And I do hope, obviously a lot of people have hopes on Nokia, and if they're calling it the rebirth, obviously we are in for some good surprises.
Yeah, as we know, the market for phones is so competitive at the moment. Obviously, Apple came out first, took the market completely by storm, and now everyone's sort of edging back. We've got the HTCs and not so much the BlackBerry, but the Android formats. They're coming back strong. Yes. You've got the Samsung S2, etc., etc. One day, I think we'll have to do a complete comparison, and we're going to make you tell us which is the phone to get.
I think we'll try and sort that out in the next or the subsequent
because I think
episode,
I think that's probably one of the main questions we will get asked over the days and weeks we do this is they will want you to fix it down to one single one. Which is the phone to get? Which is the gadget guru's choice of phone?
I think what we're going to do is we're going to pretty much do that on one of these shows, because with Christmas coming in, and I guess a lot of people would be looking at buying new phones and new gadgets and gifts and stuff. It will be good for us to just compare all these phones and obviously give them our opinion in terms of which cuts and which does not obviously cut in terms of technology. But that's definitely on the cards. Obviously we've got something exciting to show them today in any case.
Yes, so should we move on to the next section? Yes, I think we will. Right, we've had news and features. Now we're going to give you some reviews of particular products. So we're going to go to the section which is called Gadget Reviews. You have two fantastic products that you brought in today. You're going to start with...
I think what we're going to do is start with one of the phones first, the HTC Sensation, and just get this out of the way in the sense, obviously, a brand new handset which has been launched in the market. It's called the HTC Sensation. It's available on different through different operators, obviously available at different price points. So if you choose to get this on a particular pay-as-you-go or a monthly plan, obviously you can get this starting from 29, 30, 35 pounds with different operators. I think the beauty about this handset is, one, it's got a very large screen. A lot of us who have been using, smartphones in particular, have started to become, quite familiar with the touch screen. And when you look at this particular phone, and I'll switch it off and I'll switch it back on, you normally see it's got a very good UI in terms of how they've implemented it, and you get a home screen which shows you the weather and stuff. But if you look at the overall package,
if you just have a look at that section again, if you close it again and we open it up, so it's got quite a unique, instead of, like people are used to the Apple swipe, this is a completely different thing. I think we've got it on camera, so if you can show it to one camera there, if you just move it across slightly, there we go. So if you close it,
and if I close it and I switch it back on, so that's the welcome screen.
It's got a ring at the bottom and you swipe it up. That looks quite cool. I like that. And then it goes straight onto the weather. Yeah. And in this particular case, it's raining, which is accurate.
Which is pretty accurate. Yeah, in terms of the phone, obviously, it is quite a sleek phone. As you can see, it's quite slim. And apart from that, it has, obviously, you'll expect a powerful processor, keeping in mind it's got a 4.5-inch screen, a 1.2 gigahertz processor, and a very good camera. An 8 megapixel near-facing camera. That means you can actually take very good photographs, or get moments in the camera using this phone. It's got an integrated flash. Comes with about 8 gigabyte of a memory card. Yeah. That means it's good for storing data. I think some of the other things that I would want to talk about is, because this is an Android phone that we are covering on the show, if some of you are into apps and obviously want a lot of apps, 57% of the Android apps are free.
Wow!
So as compared to some of the other markets like the Android market, the Apple, the App Store, BlackBerry market, if you compare the number of apps which are free on Android's got about 500,000 apps now on phones.
Wow. So
and out of that, majority of them are free.
So that's something you will need to consider. Before we carry on with continuing the review of the phone, we're going to take a short commercial break. Don't go anywhere, because we've got lots coming up. Welcome back. Just before the break, our gadget expert Raman was running through the HTC. So you were going to tell us about a few apps that you thought were particularly interesting on this
Absolutely.
phone.
I think one of the key things on a phone like this, when you get a bigger screen, like a 4.5-inch screen, I think browsing on this phone is quite nice. The internet browsing.
Yeah.
So as you can see on the browser, obviously we've opened our own website, and as you can see, you can easily navigate into sections, do a poll, and it's quite nice in all. Right. One of the other things which I would want to show you is obviously looking at the Android market. How easy is it, obviously, to download apps, and especially somebody like me who loves downloading a lot of apps and trying them out. All I can do is basically go into the market, click on it. Obviously, this is running in our Wi-Fi environment. We are running on 3G, so I wouldn't probably say that it's mimicking the exact speed of the phone and stuff like that. But obviously, this is how the Android market looks like. And as you can see, there are a good amount of free apps. So let's download one, which is the Expedia, which helps you find cheap hotels, last-minute bookings if you want to do. And you click on install. Pretty much simple, accept, and it starts installing. And once it is installed, obviously, you go back to your apps. and then you can straight away run it, from the apps itself. A couple of other apps which are obviously quite handy in the Android, which obviously is the Google apps that you can get to see, is obviously Google Talk, which they've integrated, the YouTube app, which they've integrated. The other app which they've integrated is navigation that you get to see. If I just go back to the apps here.
There's quite a few Google-based apps now that obviously Google, are they providing a free navigation software?
Yes,
it is.
It is a free navigation software and it is voice activated. So as long as you accept the terms and conditions, and I will try and say a destination, DM Digital. Let's see what it brings up.
Fingers crossed.
DM Digital. As you can see on the screen, obviously, DM Digital.
That was quite good. You're under pressure there to make sure it worked, and it actually worked. Though.
So it does bring up a couple of DM Digital, and I missed out the TV bit, so obviously it's brought up, and it's quite accurate, and I've tried that app a couple of times. So obviously, all in all, I would say this is a very good phone in terms of standby time, in terms of obviously the storage. It's quite a sleek handset. Some of us who are quite, into touchscreen phones, this is one of the phones to look at. And I think one of the other things which I love playing with the phone is just doing this, to be honest.
The interface is very slick.
It's got a very nice UI design for a lot of apps, and it's fun to use, this gadget.
So overall, it gets a very good rating from yourself.
Good rating from ourselves.
Right. The next, we're going to move on to another review of a product which Raman explained to me just a little bit earlier on, and I'm very excited about, because to be honest, this is something I feel is that I would be able to use or could use very, very easily. Basically, it's a storage device with a very big difference.
I guess, yes. That's where the detail is. What we are looking at covering is a device called Y-Drive. Now, this is, as the name suggests, it's a Y-Drive. It's a wireless drive. And obviously with flash storage, being made available. So this drive has flash memory in it, available in 32 gigabytes, 64 gigabyte, pretty much mimicking, obviously, the iPhone, as you can see,
the look
and feel of the shape. What this device does is actually allow simultaneously users to stream data from it. So it has its own wireless network that it can set up. And as of now, this device basically works with the i set of devices, the iPad, the iPad Touch, the iPod Touch, the iPhone. And obviously, for reasons of review, what we've done is we've switched it on. This has got about 4 hours of backup on it. It's quite light in terms of weight, so something that I can easily pocket and obviously take it along. And I think the key utility of a device like this, before we get on to the demonstration, is that if, as a family, I'm going out, or if I'm going out and I always carry some part of my data with me, which is the flash drives or pen drives, what I would want to do is basically create the folders in this, documents, movies, music, pictures, and let's take this along as a family on a family trip. And if I'm in a hotel, obviously what I do is I have different devices. So if I want to watch a movie and you actually want to watch, listen to your music, so all you can do is we are using the same device to stream data on different devices. And not something quite innovative in the market, but I would still put it this way. In this compact shape and design, for the price at which it comes, £89 for a 32 gig.
Very good.
And, for a 16 gig, and about £120 for a 32 gig. It's quite nice. This device is apparently from Kingston, and we're trying to get hold of another one which is from their competitor called Seagate.
Oh, okay.
And if we get that, obviously we'll get to cover that in the review within the show as well.
But before we continue, we've got a quick caller, so we're going to take a call before we do the demonstration. Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Young man, I came back again. I forgot my question, actually.
Oh, okay.
I was so excited about your program at the age of 72.
Okay.
And my question is that a true or false that they say, I got iPhone 4, yeah? They say that iPhone 4 is getting this new one with solid plate next year. Is that true or false?
The new iPhone, the question is from the gentleman, is it correct that there's a new iPhone coming out next year?
Well, we can go by rumors. I cannot confirm this because obviously we don't have any sources, company sources quoting for this.